His House is a dramatic horror movie. It's about a refugee couple, and they want a better life for themselves. And I think at the beginning of this movie, the delivery is vague. We don't know what is happening at the beginning. I think the director leaves some parts out intentionally. And then it cuts to the husband waking up, and then the wife asks, "What were you dreaming about?" And he says, "Our wedding." And then it is kind of funny because she says, "But you were screaming, so you were screaming about our wedding."
Explains his screams.
So then I'm thinking, what happened to the little girl? Or was all of that stuff just a dream? Then we see this couple having the opportunity to live in a different country. They move to London, and it's a shithole. The place is an absolute shithole.
Get some screws for your door. There's a shop round the corner.
Hurry up! I think there's someone living there.
So then we see the husband trying to adapt to his new way of life.
All I can taste is the metal.
We'll get used to it.
And the wife, she's adapting a little bit, but she does appear to be struggling as well. Now the horror aspect kicks in. At first kind of feels like the movie Insidious. I constantly kept looking in the background, so the director had me hooked in right there. And then the thing that I love about the horror the most and how it's presented is it builds. There's really creepy visual images in here, and I haven't been this terrified watching a movie in a good long while. There was one moment that confused me, is when the spirits were confronting the husband. They surrounded him and they held a knife to his neck, and I'm like, okay, so they can physically touch him. Are they going to kill him? But the husband turns on the light, and the actor in this moment, throughout the whole movie though, but in this moment he was hyperventilating, so that really sold me. And then another beautiful moment with this actor is when he goes to the office. You can just look at his body language and his facial expression, and he's just selling it off that about how like he really wants to leave that house. So this conversation is funny.
Gael is very ill.
Has you seen a doctor?
Yes.
Good.
He says, get out of the house. We have to move.
So then this moment intensifies, and it's mwah, and the way it's shot and the performances from the actors are solid all the way around. This whole sequence right here is absolute mwah. So the story progresses, the dramatic tension rises as the horror rises, and it's all fantastic. And another beautiful moment is when the wife and the husband are sitting down eating dinner, and the husband, he's telling his wife, you know what, just ignore all this stuff, let's not embrace it, let's just ignore it and live our lives. And then the wife is like, you know what, I had contact with this spirit, and the spirit is a witch, and these aren't demons, these are ghosts, and these ghosts want revenge, and the witch wants revenge. The witch says that we need to repay our debt. We need to leave this house, go back to our homeland and repay our debt, and then our daughter can come back to life. That's what I got from it at first. And the husband rejects her, saying, no, this is our home, we're not going back, enough with this foolishness. But then there's a beautiful moment here where the special effects absolutely shine. where the husband is eating dinner and then the camera pans out and then you see the wall and then you see this ocean and he's ignoring it, and then you hear the witch's voice and then the husband's paying attention. And this is the moment where earlier I said, okay, what can these spirits do? They can touch him, but they didn't kill him. And in this moment right here in the ocean, it's revealed that this witch and these spirits can't physically harm anybody. And the performance from this actor, again, is mwah, because after he is horrified by the events that have taken place, he pisses himself. And at that moment I laughed, but then I felt it because the intensity is rising and it just builds and builds and builds, and now we are at the climax. It is revealed that they never had a child. The movie reveals to the audience that they stole this child. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. That seriously hurt my heart, because I was rooting for this couple and I felt their relationship, and when they were fighting and going through all this stuff, I felt that emotion for them. And once this whole thing is revealed that they stole this kid just to get to where they currently are, that made me look at them in a different way, and it hurt me. So then the witch is fed up with these games. So then the witch is like, I'm just gonna parade you with all of these images. So then that's when shit hits the fan. And the wife attacks her husband, she runs, and then now the world around them has changed, and they're back in their homeland, and then the wife is talking to these elderly women, and then the demon makes, or the witch makes a deal with the wife saying, if you give me his flesh, I will bring back the child. She doesn't agree to it, but the deal is made. Okay, so the husband, he sacrifices himself. The wife doesn't have to do it. Then the witch shows up, and the witch was like, okay, here's the child. So they kill the witch, and the witch is dead. But then the girl comes back. I was like, did the girl come back to life? Was she reconnected to her mother? No, none of that happened. What I assumed happened is that all of these vengeful spirits were set free. I guess the witch had a hold of these people and it was controlling them or something, and then they killed the witch and they set these people free. That's what I got from it. But they still stole that child, and that mother does not get her child back. So it's not really a happy ending. They live with their lie. They live with their secret. Overall, my verdict for this movie is I love it. I love this movie. Even though by the end there are some conflicting things that I have, little nitpicky things. I was saying this whole time to myself, if I was that witch, whoever is in charge of all this, I'd be like, how does that make sense? How can I only touch them and make my spirits touch them, but we can't kill them until they expose their flesh, but then they can kill me anytime they want, pretty much? That doesn't make any sense. But you know what? I ran with it. I was like, whatever, do you, man. It's good. This is a minor problem. It's a minor nitpick that I have. But the dramatic elements in here are fantastic. Reality is scarier than fiction. So the reality elements here are fantastic. They hit hard. And then when the horror comes in, that hits really hard, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and it never lets up. The horror in here hits so fucking hard. I haven't seen a horror movie hit this hard in a long fucking time.
Your ghosts follow you. They never leave. They live with you. It's when I let them in, I could start to face myself.